Welcome everyone. This is our inaugural Teach module in M365 training. We're doing a hands-on lab, meaning all of you have access to this at home, and we're going to have some folks in the education team lead us through. So my name is Mike Tholfsen. I work on the education product team at Microsoft. In terms of the agenda, this is what we're going to go. We're going to go hands-on with the Teach module, and then we're also going to show some coming soon things that'll be rolling out to everyone soon as well. Okay, in terms of making this hands-on lab effective, there's a Q&A across the top. There's a button, a little Q&A button, and you can ask questions there. You can also use the chat. We're recording this, and we're going to be posting this on the Microsoft Edu YouTube channel afterwards. And also, we're going to have the hands-on lab. We're going to have little polls. So after each section, we're going to put a little poll up just to see if people were successful in completing the assignment, so to speak, that people like Max and Life and Sam will be having you do. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Max Fritz.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mike. Max Fritz, one of Mike's team members here, and I want to talk to you just a little bit about the M365 Copilot app, and then we are going to get into things. First things first, we are going to be talking about the Teach module today, which is a part of the M365 Copilot app. And the first and most important thing I want you to understand is the M365 Copilot app is something that everybody here has access to. You do not need a fancy dancy license. You can be A1, A3, A5. You can have no idea what I'm talking about, and you still have access. So what is the M365 Copilot app? It is the new version, really, of Office.com. It is Office.com powered by AI. So you can get to there going literally to office.com right now, or Microsoft365.com, or m365.cloud.microsoft, lots of URLs. We'll do some hands-on. But there are a few different things that you can see there. First of all, of course, is Copilot Chat, which you all have access to. It's a secure AI chat that you have access to that has all of your, that is grounded in web data. And if you have a fancy license, institutional data as well. This is not trained on your data. You can use it in a secure way. There's also a few other things in there like search, the ability to search across all of your content in Microsoft, agents, which you can even build your own agents that operate inside a Copilot chat and kind of provide a customized environment, a create module, which if you haven't checked it out yet, you can create all sorts of AI imagery and video content right inside of there. Really awesome. We're not going through it today, but please check it out. And then what we're talking about today is the EDU functionality, number 5 on here, teach and study and learn. We're going to talk today about teach. And this is AI-powered capabilities specifically for education inside of that Copilot app. So teach itself. Getting to teach, we even have one more URL to get you there, real nice and easy, aka.ms/teach. Mike threw that in the chat just a minute ago. Go ahead and click on that. You're going to need that here in a minute. Teach is a module inside of the Copilot app that provides you access to AI teaching tools. Right now, you're going to see a handful of teaching tools in there, but we are rapidly adding more and more and more over time. In fact, you're going to see quiz in there as well, which is kind of a newer item from us. You're going to see more later this month and early next month. We'll talk about that. But really, this is going to provide you a home for all sorts of AI capabilities. And myself, Life, and Sam are going to show you some various capabilities right inside of there. And I'm going to start by showing you creating lesson plans. So first, I'm going to show you kind of from a slide perspective what this looks like, and then we're going to get hands-on together. So to create a lesson plan, what we're going to do is we're going to go into curriculum planning and click lesson plan. Again, don't worry about following along just yet. We're going to do this hands-on together. Lesson plans lets you provide basic information about your class. It lets you select standards, and it lets you customize the lesson. So to get hands-on here together, what we're going to do is we're going to practice creating a 60-minute lesson plan. Now, you could do it as a shorter or a longer lesson plan if you want to. That's just the way I'm going to do it here today. I'm going to walk you through step by step. I'm going to create a geography lesson plan, but if you have your own topic, feel free to throw it in. And then we're going to learn how to align the lesson plan to standards, how to modify the lesson plan, and how to save and then export that lesson plan for use. So step 1 is going to be lesson plan creation. So in the creation flow, you're going to be asked a few different things. Requirements are that you provide your subject, your grade level, and your language, a description of the lesson, and a lesson plan duration. That subject, grade level, and language, go ahead and enter those in the way that makes most sense to you. I'm going to and I'll share my screen in a moment here, I'm going to use geography and grade level 10, but again, use your own. And then the description, we want you to type in a minimum of 20 characters there, but more is going to be a little better. We just want you to describe in human language what is the lesson you're trying to teach. You do not need to be an AI prompting wizard. If you are, all the better, but just describe your lesson. And then we're going to hit that add content button, and you're going to be able to add content to ground the lesson plan on things that are relevant to the lesson. Maybe it's a previous lesson, maybe it's an assignment or reading for the lesson, whatever you might have in OneDrive, SharePoint, or your local device, and then walk through standards and lesson duration. So I'm going to switch to sharing my screen so you can see the way that this works live together. So here I am in the Teach module, again, aka.ms/teach. I'm going to click on curriculum planning. Don't worry if you see some more categories than you see right now. We'll talk more about this later. Click on lesson plan, and then I'm able to enter in my details. Now, because I've done this before and I've used the lesson plan tool a handful of times, I'm able to select one of my previous subject and grade level pairings. So I'm going to choose that geography grade level 10. And now I'm going to put in a description. I'm going to put this description in the chat if you want to copy me word for word and just try it out without typing in your own lesson. But feel free to type in your own as well. So we're going to do a lesson plan on water resources and their role in human development. And I need to make sure that it covers freshwater availability, irrigation, and hydroelectric power, because my unit plan that I created told me that's what we really need to cover inside of this. You can't create unit plans here yet, but that's what I know I need to get after. I can click on add content. I'm going to choose one of my cloud files here, and I'm going to choose a reading that I have for my students on water scarcity understanding. You don't have this in your OneDrives, obviously, so you can skip this part, but you can also add something if you do. I'm going to go to add standards, and I'm going to choose a standard set. I am in the snowy land of Minnesota in the United States right now, so I'm going to choose Minnesota Academic Standards. I am setting this grade level 10, science, and then I'm going to the Earth and Space Science, exploring phenomena or engineering problems. I'm going to choose asking questions and defining problems as my standard strand that I want to use. I can go down deeper and deeper if I want to, and I can choose up to 10 standard strands from across different standard sets. Note that there are standard sets for all 50 US states and 35 countries around the world. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions in there as well. I had a question about higher ed examples as you go along. The example I chose specifically for today, if you want to do higher ed, just bump this up to higher ed. Water resources and scarcity is a lesson plan that should be hopefully relevant to high school and higher ed. So I'm also going to choose a lesson plan duration. I'm going to choose 60 minutes, but pro tip, if you ever want to try out creating a just a short little lesson plan to kind of get things started in the classroom, a bell ringer of sorts, you could do 5 minutes there. I'm going to hit generate now. Now here it's creating our lesson plan for us. We can watch it generating live if we keep scrolling down and down. And what it's doing is it's creating a lesson plan in an outline format. It's going to repeat to me my most important inputs, my overview of the inputs I used and the standards I used. And now it's going to start to use AI to create objectives, a material list, and then time-based sections that break down to equal those 60 minutes that I asked for. So I can go here and I can start to review this lesson plan. I can, if I choose to, move things around up and down. So I could say, you know what, I want to do the investigating availability before a simulation game. I could also dive into the simulation game, for example, or any section for that matter, and I can see AI suggestions to actually add even more things like facilitating a class discussion as a part of that simulation. I love that idea. So I'm going to click add there, and now that's a part of there. Obviously, you can edit any of the individual bullet points as you want to as well. Now that's editing the sections one by one, but if you look over at this purple bluish pane on the right-hand side that you're going to see when I show you things, and Life shows you things, and Sam shows you things, we have enhanced with AI, which allows you to go and actually just using your language, describe changes you want to this lesson plan. We have some AI suggestions here that are going to help maybe provide some more innovative ideas than what naturally would come out of the AI lesson plans. but feel free to put in one of those. Change your tone if you want to, change your length. Maybe you're really actually quite good at human development and geography, and you're just looking for some ideas. Go ahead, switch that to concise, and it's going to be a little less descriptive so that you can just take those ideas. Or maybe you really are new to this, you're a teaching assistant or a substitute, and you need very detailed explanation of how to teach this lesson plan. Switch that to expanded. So I'm going to switch this to concise. I'm going to ask it to incorporate a self-assessment checklist for learning objectives. Great idea. And if I wanted to, I could change languages here as well, which I could have done on the first step. And then I will click Update and Override to override the changes I made. Now, if I choose to say, you know what, I like some of those changes I made, I could always go back to my previous draft here once this is done generating. So you can go back and forth, choose what works best for you. And then once you are happy and satisfied with your lesson plan that you've created, we can see here that this is much less verbose because I changed it to the concise format. I'm going to go ahead and click Save to OneDrive. It's going to save to OneDrive using the title that's up here. Go ahead and edit that if you want to. And I can choose where in my OneDrive or even my SharePoint sites I want that to be saved. I am not an organized person, as my colleagues will tell you necessarily with my files. So I'm just going to save that to the root of my OneDrive. And I'll click Save here. And then once it's done saving, I can go ahead and view my document, or I can go back to the Teach module and keep doing more stuff. We'll click on View Document so you can see what this looks like right now. It's going to open it up in Word Online. If you want to, you can open that up in Word on the desktop if you haven't installed anytime. And here we go. That lesson plan that I've created is now in here ready for me to use. And what's even better is if I want to take this to the next level and ask Copilot more questions about this document, I can click on that Copilot tab right there, and no extra license required, and even have some more conversations with Copilot to kind of keep my thought process going. I see lots of questions in the chat. I sure hope my colleagues and what I see, they're responding. I'll go back and see if there's anything unresponded to, but in the meantime, I'm going to hand things over to Life, who is going to bring us back to the home of the Teach module and show our next hero feature.
Okay, I'm going to talk about a new feature that was actually released just yesterday, so fresh out of the press, I guess. This is all about using quiz in Teach. So quiz creation with form, just as Max said, we will do a quick video and then talk through it and then do a live experience as well. So quiz creation is helping you create quizzes directly based on your standard descriptions, documents, desired number of questions, and so forth, basically. And they will be created for you inside forms. You can edit it, share it, and of course share it with students either inside forms directly or through Teams or other tools you're using. To do this, you go in homework assessment, choose quiz, subject, just similar we had today in lesson plan, the grade level that you're looking target for, description for it, and then you choose a standard. So we talked about standards a couple of times now, that's the same experience. You can choose different time for your quiz and also do practice mode if you want to as well. Once it's created, you can review it, change it, and then save it for publishing to your students afterwards or to your colleagues. So a couple of things here. We will create like a 10 question quiz for us today. So let's go through the process right now. First, for quiz creation, it's all about kind of setting definition for your quiz. So the subject, your grade level. And grade level in this case just means what kind of language are we targeting for your language as well. Language is a selection of things that we translate into. I know it says English US, and there's a lot of questions about English UK. We're working on those things to make it better as well. So you'll see that in the future. You can add description and additional content that you want to have based this quiz for. And you can choose one or more standards to kind of ground your quiz for as well. A couple more things you can set up for your quiz. You can choose number of questions, so minimum of 10 that we have right now. You can update those as well. You can choose to do quiz duration. So In quizzes today, you can there's a setting to set a time for students to use the quiz, and this limits the time. So there's a timer going up as soon as they start the quiz itself. Alternatively, you can have a practice mode, and practice mode gives the students the ability to try out and also get feedback directly in the quiz itself. So those are the two ways that you will have your students use your quiz afterwards. And as well, this is using AI, so always review this content, right? So are they correct content? Are you changing it? That's always good to do before you share it with your students. So let me now actually go through the experience myself. Share my screen here. Okay, so as Max shared before, there is a new tool here called Quiz. So you'll see this new thing, as I said, it's just released this week for all of you guys. In here, you can choose biology, grade level, and so forth. We also have a kind of a quick settings for you. So if you used the set the biology and grade level last time, you can click here and automatically set those things for you in your system. I'm going to add a lesson here. Let me see my to biology. I'm going to talk about cell membrane. So this is my quiz for that. I could here have added content as well to add even more grounding, basically, what you base the quiz in the first place. It's all up to you. In this case, I've been using the next generation science standard for this experience. I'm going to use my focus on cells and so forth. So this is all this is doing is setting kind of the grounding for our quiz. So when creating it, we use your description, we use the standards to kind of set kind of what you're looking for to test your students in. And I can choose then how many questions I want to use and quiz duration as well. So same before, I can choose to have a time limit for it, or I could just practice more. There's two ways doing that. If I generate those things and generate the quiz, it will take a little time to go through all the information. And this is now an optional quiz me to use either inside Teams and Forms, Schoology. It's all about using that and sharing with your student as well. And the first thing you're asking for is, of course, if it's incorrect or not. That's going to give feedback to us, which is great to see. I can review my quiz as well. And you see, by default, we added 100 points or 10 points per questions. In your description, you can say, hey, don't do any points. It will not add points for you first place. So you can change those things part of the description as well. Once if you like this thing, it's great, you can save it. And then you can share those correct responses with students as before. So as a quick kind of flow by flow of creating quizzes inside Teach. With that, if you go back to your deck, Mike.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm going to start talking about flashcards now, just so we can move along. My name is Samantha Fisher. I work on the team with Life and Mike and Max, and I work on our learning activities. Learning activities are our new tools that allow educators and students 13 and up to create flashcards, fill in the blanks, matching, all sorts of engaging practice activities that take existing learning content and transform it into a more engaging way to engage with that content. I'm going to post a paragraph in the chat all about butterflies, because we're going to need some input content to create our flashcards. This is a great one to start with if you want to, but also feel free to ask Copilot or a chatbot or use any information you already have. You do not have to use this butterflies information to create your own learning activity, but I just want to put this in the chat to give people an option. You can just copy that text directly, and I have it on pretty good authority that this works well. So, what is flashcards? This is a way for you to transform your existing learning content, like I said, into flashcards using AI. We have lots of different options. I'll walk through each of them about how you can create an engaging flashcard set. You can then use them to practice or share them with your students. Your students will be able to practice, and then you'll be able to see some lightweight insights about what your students struggled with in a flashcard set. So you can add learning content, choose all sorts of things about your flashcards, and then share those after. And we have more learning activities coming too. That'll be in the coming soon section. So we're going to walk through the process step by step, just like Max and Life did. I'm going to share my screen and walk through it. But first, I'm going to talk through the key elements just in the PowerPoint so you all can see it before we walk through it. This is really simple, and this is also accessible through the Teach module. We have a Learning Activities app now that can be accessed in that list of Microsoft apps, so you should all see it. But the really great thing about all learning activities is you can find all of them in the Teach module and access them there. Yeah, getting some feedback that this is going fast. Yeah, I definitely hear you. This is a lot of content to pack into an hour, so thank you for that feedback. The recording will be available, the deck will be available, so you'll be able to go back and do this at your own pace again. So if you're struggling to follow along, no worries, you will be able to review all of this content, and it is being recorded like drinking from a fire hose. Oh, cracking me up. So, flashcards. What we will do is go through creating a flashcard. So I'm going to walk through the slides, and then, like I said, I'm going to share my screen. So the first thing that you're going to need is learning content. So that's that butterfly content that I pasted in the chat. Feel free to just copy and paste that and use that. Or, like I said, you can generate your own learning content. It just has to be between 240 characters and 50,000 characters. You can also upload a document if you have a PDF or a Word document with any learning content that you want to transform into flashcards. That's an option for you as well. We have different flashcard types, and we also have language. Just like with lesson plan, you can change the output language. So even if you use that text that's in English for butterfly flashcards, if you want to change that output language and see how well it does transforming that into Spanish or Danish, you have that option as well. For our flashcard types, we have term and definition, which are the most common, question and answer, and then also multiple choice. And then we have the ability to generate hints for each card too. That is on by default, generating hints, but you can turn that off. You have the option then to review the flashcards, play them. You can add images. We'll walk through all of this together, and enhance with AI. This is that Enhance with AI option. You have that free text box where you can review suggestions, describe any changes that you want to make. You can change the card type and the hints too. But something to note, if you use this Enhance with AI option, it will regenerate all your flashcards. You can go back and forth and look at past versions of your cards, but just to note, it will regenerate. So if you started making edits or adding images, just keep that in mind. Ooh, I'm seeing flashcards being a big hit for world language teachers. I love that. You also, for each card, have the option to edit it manually. So you can edit, you can delete, you can add images. I'll show how this works. It's super easy. And then you can play the card too to see what your students are going to see. And then you have the option to preview. So I will actually walk through all of this. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here soon. But this is the preview experience for a flashcard set and what it looks like to play it. Alrighty, so I am logged in here to my teacher account. I'm in the Teach module. I have the Learning Activities app over here too. Just wanted to show this briefly. This is available in this list of all apps, and I can see all my activities in a really pretty view. But the really cool thing, this is all available in the Teach module. So this is under the Study Aids in More section. I'm going to go into flashcards. We're going to talk about these in a second. These are still in preview, but everyone will have access to flashcards. So I'm going to select flashcards. Again, I'm in Study Aids and More, and I'm selecting flashcards. And I'm going to paste in that learning content about butterflies that we just talked about. So as you can see, I've hit that minimum character. I'm nowhere near the maximum characters, which is great. You can put a lot of content in here, although we have occasionally seen people hit the max, which is fun. But yes, you can put in your content here or upload content. This is where you could upload a file from your device. You could select cloud files. You have all those options here. And then this is the language dropdown. So lots of different languages supported. I'm sticking with US English, but you can change that and it will actually change the output. So even if I put an English input, I can change the output here. So that's really helpful for world languages teachers. Like I mentioned, we have the flashcard types. I love a mix of term and definition and question and answer. The teach module is really smart and it remembers that about me, so it leaves those selected. And then it also is going to let me generate a hint for each card. I'm leaving that on as well. And again, you don't have to use butterfly content. Feel free to use anything from any of your classes or your subjects too and see how well it does. We'd love to hear feedback on that. Alrighty, I'm going to hit generate now. Okay, wonderful. It gave me some cards. Let's go check out my Enhance with AI options. Okay. Use simpler language for scientific terms, add more examples of butterfly adaptations. I can change that card type like we talked about. I can change the hints. I can also come down here and generate 5 more cards if I want to. I'm going to do that to show what that looks like. Make my flashcard set a little bit longer. Awesome. Okay, perfect. And as you can see, I have a mix of that term and definition and question and answer. So these are some terms and definitions, and then this is what the question and answer cards look like. And then for each card, I can go in and upload images. Image, chrysalis. Ooh, all right. So as you'll see, all of these images are pre-populated. So we have pre-populated searches, but you can change this too. Luckily, I find it does a pretty good job. But yeah, I can add images to the front and back of cards and then be able to see those. Pollination. Ooh, awesome. Okay, cool. So I'm adding images to each card as I go. I also have the option to edit each card. Let me show what this looks like as well. If I wanted to, for example, I can delete this image. Delete that. Ooh, there we go. I can also, yeah, go through each card. Ooh, my screen is frozen. Give me a second, everybody. All right. And then I'm going to go into preview mode for flashcards. Okay, so I can flip each card, see the front and the back. I can show the hint. Okay, awesome. I know that. So this is what my students will see when they're playing the cards. They have the option to look at hints, to flip each card, and say if they know or don't know any given card. Okay, awesome. So I'm just going to go through each of these for demo purposes. All right. Amazing. So I can see the ones that I'm still learning and the ones that I know, so I can switch between these here. And I have the option too to go back and retry the ones that I missed. So I can start the whole set over if I want to, or I can retry just the ones that I struggled with. So that is what students will see as well. I'm going to go ahead and exit preview mode, and I'm going to save the activity. All right, so now I want to go view those flashcards. It's going to open it in learning activities for me. I'm going to have these insights that I can see here. So I'll be able to see when my students have started and completed it, the average score, and the challenging cards. Obviously, I just created this, so no one has played this flashcard set yet. And then I have the option to share. So I can edit the activity, I can preview the activity, all those things that we just did, and I can share it. So this is going to instruct my students. I can give them this join code if they go to learning activities, or I can copy this link directly and paste that anywhere. I could paste that in my learning management system. Again, you don't have to be using Teams or anything like that. You can do this in your LMS. In any learning platform that you want to. I can just copy this link and then paste it, and my students will be taken right to this activity to practice. All right, that is the full flashcard show. I hope everybody was able to successfully complete those. We'll have a poll in a second, but I'll look through chat and see if there were any questions. Yeah, so for students and educators, they'll be able to find this in their app list. So their learning activities now shows up in the list of apps. I'm posting also aka.ms/learning activities will take you right there as an educator or a student, or I'm going to put the full URL in the chat as well. So either of these links should get you there, but I can also share now in that apps list, you'll see learning activities. So if you search for learning activities in your list of Microsoft apps, you'll find that. You can create it through the Teach module and access all of your things through there. But also you can share this link directly with your students, and also any join link that you create. So that whole copy link, if you share that, that'll take your students right into the experience too. So should be pretty easy for them to find.
And I'll also add, Samantha, since it's happening probably the next couple of days, the Learning Activities app is going to show up in the app waffle, like in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, for all educators and students. It might take a couple days till it fully rolls out, but just in the chat, I even put a little screenshot of what it's going to look like. So you'll be able to go to the waffle in like Word and just launch into Learning Activities right from there.
Yeah, students will need to log in with their Microsoft accounts to use that join code or use that access code. They will be prompted to log in. It will appear in the waffle for students as well too. Yep. To make it easier for them to get to. So then they can find any activities that have been shared with them by their educators, or if they are 13 and up and have access to Copilot Chat, they can create their own activities. We're also just a little preview information for you all. We're working on rolling this out more broadly and making this available easier to students. Once we have an admin center toggle, you will be able to enable this to your students without having to have Copilot Chat on. So that will be coming early next year as well, because we know some schools might not want their students to have access to Copilot Chat, but they feel totally fine about their students generating flashcards, for example. So we have new learning activities coming soon to the Teach module. So we have this fill in the blanks activity where same thing, you'll paste your learning content. It'll create these paragraphs of blanks. I actually have a demo video of what this looks like. This is coming to general availability before the end of the calendar year, so very soon. So let me go ahead and play this video for everybody. All right, great. Fill in the blanks. So very similar experience, as you can see. I'm pasting in some learning content. This is all about the history of New York City, which is the city I live. I have options to allow AI to edit that content to make the paragraphs, better suited for activities, which I left on. And then I have different difficulties. I have easy, medium, and complex. So I can decide that difficulty and see how, that'll determine the difficulty of the blanks and the number of blanks in each paragraph. Similarly, I can generate more, just like I did for flashcards. I know I'm walking through this really fast. This is not meant to be a follow along. I have the same enhance with AI and then the same kind of preview opportunity. So I, as the student, can pick the right answers. I have my distractors in there. I think I got 3 right and 1 wrong when I was filling this out and creating this video. And then I can check that. I can see the things that I got right or wrong as a student and show the answers. So again, just another way to make content more engaging. And then very similar flow. I can save this. I can share this with my students. And again, this will be coming to the Teach module and to the Learning Activities app really in the next 2 weeks. So take a look out for that. We're all going on holiday break too, so you'll definitely see it before then. We also have another activity coming in January called matching. You might have seen that preview on my screen when I was sharing my screen too, but this allows students to match those terms and definitions and kind of race against the clock. And we'll have a leaderboard option where students can play against each other, or they can just race against themselves and kind of go for that personal best. That's totally up to the educator when creating the activity. But look out for those. Lots of new learning activities coming, and we'll have even more coming throughout the next year. I'm now going to turn it back over to Life.
Thanks, Samantha. So we saw all the experiences that Max talked about in Teach with lesson planning and quizzes and so forth. We're also adding a set of modifications. So these are all about modifying your content that you have. That could be align to standards, basically change the text and align it to the standard you choose. Different instructions, we can talk about those things later, and modify reading level and so forth. So these are all things that are coming early next year for you guys to use. But let's go through each of them. So align to standard is really taking your instructional text that you have idea, and you pick a standard that you want to use, one or more, and then we'll do actually generate that text for you, but then now aligned to the standard you chose. So for instance, in this case, I can choose my standard. In this case, I'm a biology teacher, science teacher. I'm looking at kind of setting up some toys cars. I'm fun with those things. I will now add a standard. In this case, it's all about physical science, so understanding motions and force. And as I add those standards to it, we will then take your original instruction, that could be a file or text, and then change it to be aligned to the particular standards. Now I'm going to show your time to do, what's kind of steps for the users to do, and of course, how we align these kind of standards selected to the text you have as well. So a kind of quick way for you to align your text to a standard. The next modification that we are doing is the differentiate instructions. So we know that, of course, in a class, there's different skill levels and different ways to communicate to your students and how to do your tasks. So what this is doing is taking your instructions, and a very simple one right here, talking about Newton's law. You can choose which grade level you're kind of targeting your language for, basically what kind of skill level looking for. We have a set of scaffolding, like step-by-step or hints, for example, and you can choose a length to do that text as well. So in this case, let's go through the steps here. I'm picking my instructions. I have I can choose a file to update those things, or just take your text as well. And I choose my grade level. In this case, I want to make it for grade 8. I can choose a scaffolding, like step-by-step or example answer or hints. I can choose a length to those things, generate. Now I'll take that information and then automatically add a step-by-step instruction for your grade. Or the same thing, I can choose to do different scaffolding instead of things. I want to do an example answer or hints maybe. So this will give a kind of example for the students, how to kind of hint towards yourself, right? Give some things for yourself. And all this is ready to copy and paste into your LMS system or Teams directly if you want as well. So kind of a quick way to do those instructions for yourself. The next modification we will be supporting is modify reading level. Now we know this is a big thing for us, right? We'll change, we'll take some of the text you have and then scale it often down, so make it more easy for people to read. But we also want to know that we have your key terms used to write, because often, like my wife is a teacher and she takes some of the science work they have, and there's a key terms you want to use, even if you want to make it simple for people to read, and you're now allowed to both make it simple to read as well as add your key terms preserved in the text. In this case, if we go to my example right now, I have a science story that the students can read. I will target again kind of what real level I'm targeting, and we automatically find which content you have that kind of key terms. Of course, you can add your own key terms as well. And I can choose to have a glossary that will automatically add a glossary for me at the end of the text as well. So in this case, we will scale that things down. We will highlight the key terms you are focusing on and then give a glossary directly for you to talk about how we are doing as well. So it's a quick way for you to kind of change the reading level for your work as well. And you'll see this right now as I teach, and you can, of course, copy and paste those things directly into your learning management system as you use as well. And then finally, the last thing we're doing is adding supporting examples. Now, we know it's always easy to explain certain things with using examples. That could be like scientific examples, or there can be historical examples or real world examples. So in this case, same thing before, we have some science work here. That could be a different thing as well. You can choose number of examples to use, kind of type of examples, and kind of how much detail you want to have as well. So in this case, I will go into my add supporting examples, add my content. This is about the Newton second law of motion. I can choose number of examples. In this case, choose 2. I can choose it's a real world example or it's a scientific. I can choose the level of detail I want to have, and now automatically will create your text as before, but now an example for you to use in your class as well. This is an example of science real world examples about the second law, or I could use scientific example and we'll change the same text and I'll make it for a scientific purpose as well. So again, you can copy and paste those things directly into your LMS system or save to OneDrive to use as well. So those are all quick areas we want to use for our for a modification. They should be out say early next year for everybody to use. With that, Mike, you want to take it to the end?
Yeah, and actually one thing I'll add, because we've had quite a few questions and we didn't actually mention this, and we will next time. all the features that you're seeing today are also going to be available in classwork in Teams. So if you use Teams for education, you'll be able to add all these same capabilities right in classwork. You'll also be able to soon attach all these learning activities like flashcards and fill in the blanks to assignments in Teams if you use that. And then we've also announced we're going to be adding all these same Teach module capabilities into OneNote class notebook for you OneNote fans. So you'll be able to make rubrics and quizzes and all that good stuff from OneNote class notebooks. And we're going to be bringing this to LTI. So if you use Canvas or Schoology, you'll be able to access the Teach module through all those same places. So it's not, I mean, we showed it in the Teach module today, but you can see it's coming to Teams, OneNote, and LTI like Canvas and Schoology very soon. And the other thing, a lot of people have asked, hey, is this recording going to be posted or how can I get the deck? So here is the deck, and we'll paste this link into the chat. We will clean up the recording and post this on the Microsoft Education YouTube channel probably by Tuesday of next week.